Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing the Is It Lesson deck. This was what took down the Worlds event and was pretty well represented, at least in the top 8. There was a couple of other cool lists that we'll get to, but Seth Manfield, I believe, was the winner in playing this exact version, unless obviously the thing I was looking at was lying to me, because I unfortunately was watching the Riftbound event, but that's besides the point. Other than that, this deck revolves around drawing and discarding and using the card Monument to Endurance. This is a card ever since it came out in Aether Drift. We were all confused how it wasn't the best card. Currently in the meta, you draw a card, you discard a card, a very common thing you can do, or just discard a card and get a ton of value off this. But now it finally gets to shine with obviously the Vivian Corey Steel ban in this really sweet Is It kind of synergy lesson deck. I don't want to say prowess because that's not right, but it can almost feel like that. Spell slinger is another good word, I guess. But it says whenever you discard a card, choose one that has not been chosen. And typically we'll always do the first two modes first in terms of create a treasure and then draw a card, and then each opponent loses 3 life. Well, how is the treasuring stuff really working in this deck? Well, it's because of Gran or Artist Talent. With all these lessons over here, as you can see, we'll get to a couple of them. There's a lot of lessons to have Gran turned online, and then when she does have 3 lessons in that graveyard, non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast, so that's very nice. Artist Talent also has that clause if we want to level it up for 3. That's a 5 mana commitment over the 1 mana commitment, but this does come with the best ability in our deck. Is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card and draw a card, which obviously with momentum to our Monument to Endurance, we are obviously going to love that. The best kind of lessons that we're playing is Accumulative Wisdom. This is a 2 mana, put the top 3 in your hand, and I won't let anybody tell me otherwise. And then Combustion Technique. This card exiles whenever it removes the creature, and then it also gets a lot larger. This reminds me of the Alchemy card that has I don't remember what the mechanic's called, but where you cast them and they get better. So that's what this reminds me of. Boomerang is a pretty good card that kind of works really well with Storm Chaser's talent. We can bounce our thing and draw a card, but we can also use this kind of defensively and slow our opponent down, especially in the mirror, as you'll see. But other than that, it's just kind of playing the controlled style deck. I know that sounds weird to say, but in best of 1, all this removal is going to work to help us buy time until we can kind of play almost everything in 1 turn and pop off. Of course, there will be a sideboard for everybody who's playing best of 3, because obviously I'm taking the entire list, but we'll be playing a best of 1. It does go very well, so I'm excited to show the games to you. So let's go play. Here to here, go right into a talent, then whatever we cast, probably this, it seems, maybe. Yeah. Artist Talent here. Iroh is a little worse, I think, right now, at least in best of 1, but well, never mind. I know when I'm picking off with it. Meringue basics. Go here. 4. Get rid of the talent. The mana's coming through. Pretty clutch. I almost want to bounce this, but we definitely want to draw here. I'm going to decline this. I felt like my hand's pretty solid. I don't really want to kind of overextend now. Although, who knows, maybe after this we might. They hold back exploits. Yeah, definitely now with our mana we will. Storm Chasers. Prowess comes through. The island gets bend. A lot of mana. Go here. A level, I guess. Because, like, the thing is, if that's in play, sure, they gain life and it still comes back and it's there forever, right? I could technically draw the card that would exile it, But I think in their main creature-based deck, I just kind of want it out of my way. And if I don't attack, they might attack with it anyway, and then I'm blocking it. And then they already drew a card, and then they can play another card and draw another card. Because it would be gone if I block. It's a whole weird thing. Okay, we have to play land. We have to play around No More Lies. What I pay? Get rid of Grand. Okay. The lands could stop at any time. I promise you these lands, anytime could stop. Sure. Anytime. Pretty sick here. Opponent loses 3, draw a card, create treasure. Okay. Don't really want to overcommit here. Then draw a Storm Chasers. We could create treasure, 3 life, or draw a card. We want to draw a card first. Wanted that out of the road. Sure. Now I want to put the top 3 into my hand. Because we want to do that before we start deciding on our loots. Really? Let's go ahead and make a treasure. Boomerang. Boomerang's pretty good, to be honest. Especially in a spot like this, because we can always put their good card back in their hand. Over, like, other things. I think we can take a turn, though, to kind of set up. Because we can trigger Monument on their turn. I do want to trigger it again here, however. Spend the land. I want to deal the 3. Now I have a blocker. I still have a treasure, so I guess I want to do that still. No. Go here. Kind of a trap, to be honest. Guess we just do this, right? Decline here, because we're not going to get any value, so I'd much rather just rip them all. Sure. Can all come back. Blue. Go ahead. If a source neutral would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent, yeah, dude. At least this deck, right? Over Izzet decks in the past. It is very, like, combo-centric, and it does matter. Like, High Noon really affects this deck, and you know once you answer the Monument, you might have a chance. It's just, I don't know, man. Another Izzet deck. There was a lot of them. But, yeah, we got Lesson, a talent if they're doing really nothing. Maybe Monument. Maybe we get to level this up. Who knows? Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Like there's going to be a lot of mirrors to be played, but get this out of the way before I take a lot of damage for it. We're on the draw, so we're a little behind, of course. Yes, sir. If they go land Monument, we're in trouble because they'll just be ahead the whole game. However, if we rip a land and we get to go Monument, I'll feel like we're farther ahead. Just because the treasures and the extra draw will get us actually ahead. Because the thing about this is neutral, right? It's not necessarily it puts you ahead. Which means I gotta do this to try to find a land. Man, barely. Barely a land to be seen. Is the Monument. Hopefully they don't play a land. Draw a card, treasure, each opponent loses 3. No land, please. We're probably going to take a little bit of a different route, and I'm probably going to level up my talent. Gran. Reduction from Grans there, huh? Hopefully we hit a land. Don't need another talent. We hit a land, but it's tapped, unfortunately. Combustion's good, but I don't know if I need more. So, non-creative spells cost 1 less to cast, so I'm going to 3 more. So this is the best part about Gran in comparison to this, is you don't have to overcommit and pay into this. You're really using this for the loot. Whereas in game 1, we leveled it up. But next turn, I do just get to jam Gran. Play a monument for 2. As you can see, our opponent's kind of doing the same thing. Can I actually do it the other way? Can I? No. If I drew an untap land, I could, I guess. I could back to basics this because it would set them behind, actually. Gran. Monument. Here, I guess. There's a land. Land's huge here, actually. It seems weird to do, but I think it's the correct play, actually. Okay. Take a treasure. Now we should be ahead. Draw a card. Now we should be ahead, though. Because now they have to reset this down and level it up again. Which also takes their loot away. Where I have Gran and I can level this up still. Boomerang is sorcery speed. Our best card is gone, though. And without a Storm Chasers, we can't really get it back. Although this is going to be like... Yes, sir. It's going to be pretty good. You can go up to 3 mana here. But again, they don't have the reduction, so... Kind of just depends. It's a very weird... We're in a very weird spot. With Gran or the Artist, which I don't have Artist talent leveled up. Unlike they did that one turn. That's why we boomeranged it, but... If I level up to Artist talent, my spells are reduced by 2... But with a monument in my graveyard, I don't know if ever put it leveling it unless I need to matters. So they go to 4. Be a draw 5 here. The draw 5. Well, put 3 in hand and then draw 2. Can you see how crazy it gets if you have a prowess creature, by the way? Isn't that nuts? Deal 4 there. Sure. Now they can deal 6 to me. Oh, where have you been? Land. Treasure. We're both comboing, that's for sure. Oh. Weird. much damage would that be? Disorders deals that much. So we can deal 10. Weird. The storm chasers here. Get rid of the canal. How do I interact here? This is a monument. I hate doing this kind of. I do want a better card than a land, of course, but they do nothing here. In turn. So I have a quench. So level for 3. Sure. I think we fight for that kind of. Yeah. If they quench it, then sure. There's only one monument in play currently. We can cause a little bit of problems like that. Would like to discard Iroh. There we go. Treasure and a treasure. I have 12. Does that mean I put 12 in my hand? Sure. It'll quenching my quench is fine. I don't really care. They played this land this turn, so they don't have near, maybe not near enough mana is not the right way to say that, but I should be able to at instant speed play it right that I win on my turn. Sure. I'd like to make my treasure now. They're now leveled up. Sure. Huh. Yes, sir. Gonna be a tough one, but we can win this on the draw. It is weird that shocking us in is actually having repercussions because of how many monuments we both have. You guys think that's big enough? Here. Decline that. Okay. There's no pause there, so that is fine to get minus 11. Fourth one, by the way. 2 treasures. So they can deal 6 more. Here. Thing is I might not even need the reducers, to be honest. 3. Yeah, I think I'm fine. So we're going to deal 6 and then go to our turn and just win that way, I believe. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, what a weird game. You know, the mirror, you're going to have to learn how to play it if you want to play this deck. That's all I'm saying. Opponent is first. We're prepared. Hello. Graveyard Shenanigan versus Monument. The Sultai Reanimator deck actually made it to the finals. Not the finals, into top 8. Which is pretty exciting. Did not mean to click myself there. I care. I think it's artist talent. I think we want to be efficient. I would have loved to have played this instead, but... I don't think they're attacking me, so I'll attack. Oh, is this the landfall combo deck? Not landfall. Well, actually, I guess it's technically landfall, right? Because I have to bring a Bloodghast back. Although, so I won't be able to ever respond. I have to remove the sack outlet. Who hurt that guy's feelings? Drag to the roots. There's 2 less as long as there are 4 more card types. Sure. Fair enough. I'm going to play the other card. It's pretty good as well. However, that's the main loot and scoot amigo card. Not in there yet. They're looking for a Bloodghast is what they're looking for, if you're curious. If they play one and put it on the battlefield, I will obviously combust it. Power turn the equal number of lands you control. Can be blocked with cards 2 or less. Returns card from the graveyard. Yeah. I can level this up and just do nothing if I'd like. Oh, real lessons kicking off here. A lot of lands. Maybe that's a reason not to jam the talent, but they've hit 3 tenders. They have the Storm. Sure. I suppose. Holy lands, bro. Like, I can't do anything with lands like this. Or 7. I'm empty-handed, brother. We had to remove this because they have enough mana for this. If I don't, if they play a land, obviously. There's that caveat, of course. Because he's going to exile a card in the graveyard and do the whole thing. You take 3, sure. Obviously, I'm kind of looking... No, 2 or less. I actually can't. I'm just looking to take 4 here. When this creature enters, creatures your opponent's creature minus X, so X number of permanents in your graveyard. My opponent's playing an interesting deck. Our deck's kind of self-imploding right now, which is what it is. If we rip another talent, we probably won't play it because obviously it's going to be in a vulnerable spot. We're going to look most likely level one of these. Can't block, so I'm taking 4. Miss another land. No, we'll pass. I don't know what to do. I can block and then combustion technique it. Or card types. Wow, I haven't done it yet. I couldn't mill and see if it hits. I have 7 in there. So technically, if Virtue went in there, Delirium be online. So countering the Virtue would actually have been worse for me. Oh well, that'll do it. Now it's gonna be online. I'll most likely swing it, I think, but what are they getting? That's pretty good. Yeah. I am just getting balled on. But I will say one of these will go a very long way if I can find one. So it's kind of that weird case where it's like, yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble, but hopefully we can get out of it. I mean, I'm pretty dead regardless of what happens here. I should have just blocked once and then just hoped I had nothing, I guess. And not even use this, but... Oh, well, they made it do less damage, so... I'm still, like, cooked. Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah, there's just nothing I could do here. Yeah, they got it. It's just some whack draws. I don't know. I feel like if I had any hand from the other 2 games, like, I feel like I had to walk in the park for us, really. But maybe from those games, playing this, I just was a little loose with it. Maybe I'm just supposed to not play it. It was like a mana efficiency thing where I was like, I don't want to play this out because it's just so dead to anything in green black, but who knows? I probably just played it wrong. Go first. We can start off with the Grand. Let's go. We're so primed and ready. Man, this Verge being red-blue for this deck instead of blue-red is a big negative, sort of, kind of. Blue kind of makes me feel like it's the mirror, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Iros here. And we're just going to hold up It'll Quench You. It'll quench you. Obviously, we're looking to reduce it. Ooh, Simic. Play the mole. Oh, Badger Mole Cub. Oh, what a deal. Let's do a lesson here. Feels risky, but now I'm gonna draw a card actually. Oh, let's go. So Grand reduces our talent, which is nice, and then talent can help us start doing all of the loot. So we can go talent, monument, and maybe boomerang basics. The storm chaser maybe, or even the talent. Weirdly enough, Goose Mother. Let this guy out of the house. We're going to learn from our past mistake. We're going to protect the talent. Although in this match, it might be arguable that you do the opposite, where you actually play it, considering it's blue-green. But green is always that card that has some weird enchantment removal, or I know green sometimes plays the creature that when it enters, you can like gift a card and it blows up an enchantment or things like that. So I want to protect my enchantment. I'm looking at you in the face right now. I'm looking at you right in the eyes. Now, don't get me wrong. Is that probably the better card to hit? Yes. But this card does nothing, as we've learned, without this card. Up. Hey, Daisy. We're basic. We're on some basic gameplay. Decline that for now, weirdly enough. Alright, so now I know I can go here. In that talent. Draw a card. Here. We're in. 3. Seems risky, but don't let them block any of this. This is too much damage. Too much damage sitting here to let them block it for free. We have level up, grab, boomerang basic. That's 4 to level, so we don't really get to do much with it. Unless we obviously rip a land. So we have a lot of good draws other than Fire Bluff Canal, I think. Sure. I don't even know what to do with this information. Blind that. Go to combat, attack here. Then we do 6 of them. We could obviously have double drawn, but no reason here. There's no reason. I guess they could have a bounce and a block, but then they go to 1, and I feel like... Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. That Badger Mole counter was insane for Quincha, so... Perk of being on the play, obviously. So we'll take it. Yeah, pretty good hand here. We got the lessons ready. It'll quench, and then the removal. If the removal is required. Could be another situation where being on the play is massively beneficial, but... Here. Heal! I'll take that all day. The Badger Mole in the stack, dude. Sure. I had to read it, I'm sorry. Let's pop it. Blue. Tapped. Go ahead. We're kind of finding ourselves playing the control side of the deck right now, which is okay. We could have a Snakeskin Veil, but I feel like with the might, they would have held it up. That is a run a counter out. Now, our Cubit of Wisdom will be online whenever we combustion technique something. Something. I promise I may or may not be an adult, dude. I don't know. there's a pause here, which makes me feel like they do have the protection. So I just kind of want to wait. If there's a time to do it, it's now. If they don't have the protection, they get no value here, which is awesome. And that's 0 for next turn. Maybe they just have a burn spell or a pump spell that just doesn't save it. Oh boy. Here. So I feel like we can assume. I could be wrong, but I feel like we can assume they don't have. We can play that they don't have a protection spell from here on out until they show it to us. This is kind of the thing I've talked about a couple of times in a couple of my videos. Now they have 3 mana up, so they definitely could have something here. But things I've talked about when you kind of proven. Yeah, so that card exiles, if you're curious why they snap conceded, this card exiles for whatever reason. This is why I'm a big fan of this card, and that right there goes to be one of the reasons. Until in a turn, when it dies this turn, Manifest Dread. So they literally got nothing for that. And to be fair, they would Manifest Dread, and we can always bolt this in, and then, like, bring this out and, like, do it again, but we're most likely going for this. But yeah, that's just why this deck's good. It can do the kind of nonsense combo stuff, but also win on just being the control deck. All right, so here we are with the best of 3 deck from Seth Manfield, who I believe ended up taking it. I believe that it said first, but I've seen the tournament results be wrong before. But I unfortunately didn't really watch it that much. I was kind of watching the Riftbound thing because I was more curious about the card game from a person that works at a card shop and has to, like, we just ran our own, like, $1,500 tournament with it. So it's kind of like, it had more of my interest this weekend. And I also saw that most of the decks were Is It decks. And I'm just kind of over that part, right? But I do think of every Is It deck that's been made, this one by far is the most intriguing one to me and the most fun looking one, where it's a lot more about, dude, the It'll Quench has been a one of, and it got my opponent twice in the last 2 games. Oh boy, welcome to that variance. But this deck is really sweet, and I really enjoyed playing it a lot. And the thing about this is, if this deck can be strong, and obviously it won and was everywhere in best of 3. But if it can be strong in best of 1 in its best of 3 state, there is definitely a best of 1 version that will be a little bit more optimized and a lot better. For example, one thing I would almost already replace is Iros. In best of 1, you're going to run into a lot more like Reanimator and stuff than they were most likely seeing there. This is really good at clearing all the tokens from, like, Storm Chaser's talent and just other, like, low to the ground creatures that Badger Mole makes and things like that. But with best of 1 being so wide, playing 3 of this is actually a bit narrow. At least I have felt from the matches I have played. So as you can see in the side, maybe you go into something else. Maybe you bring in Pyroclasm that can reach just a little bit more while answering the same thing. And you can feel a little bit better about this. You could argue maybe, hey, I'll play Quantum Riddler, or even in the mirrors now, because again, best of 1, once you play the 1 game, you're done. Maybe you bring in the Soul Guide Lantern or 2, because 1, I don't know if you know how reduction works on Soul Guide Lantern, but a generic 1 means that it's free with Grand online, and it's also free with Artist Talent online. So it is actually 0 mana to trigger your stuff and do all the looting and everything. And then you can even just sack it to draw a card for 1 mana. That 1 mana is a thing you have to pay for, but this would definitely feel a lot better, especially helping us win maybe the graveyard matchup decks, even though we do feel obviously pretty fast against them, pretty strong in most of those parts. But we've all been on the draw against, you know, I always want to say Superior Spider-Man because that's his paper version, but this deck, very good. And Is It back on top? I will say by far the most intriguing version. I think Vivi was just annoying to watch. Players not to their fault. It's just how long it took. But players took like 20-minute turns, and then we're like, I somehow messed up somewhere. You're not dead. Pass. And then taking a 20-minute turn, like if I was in a commander casual game, I would have gotten up before that. You know what I'm saying? Like a game I can get up and just like walk away while they take their turn. I wouldn't even give them that respect. I would just scoop my cards. I'd be like, dude, I'll see you next weekend, and dap them up and leave. Like, you got it. You can actually play what you're doing at home. I don't need to watch. But this deck's sick, and this is dope because yeah, you do take long turns, but you kind of are just throwing spells on the stack and doing what you have to do, and it's pretty obvious what you have to do most of the time. It's like play the ones that draw you cards, discard the things you don't need, and then do the other modes, and then on the last one do the 3 damage and set it up to basically do 3 on your turn, deal 3 on their turn, do it on your turn, do it on their turn, and then win. If you have 2 of these, that's 6 to 12 all the way to 18, and then they're most likely done at that point if you have 2 of these. It was a bit weird. It's just kind of hard to talk about overall whenever you break this down. But I do think adjustments need to happen when it comes to best of 1, though, just overall. So, I have to say, obviously, the list was good. It won. It's so weird to say list wrong, and then it's like, bro, it just won Worlds. I'm saying just adjustments for best of 1 need made. That's all. So, with that, I hope y'all enjoyed. The other final note to put in is kind of the crafting guide. We always kind of do this in these videos, and that's the thing. This is a very cheap arena deck as well. If you don't want to play best of 3, although best of 3 I believe is also just as cheap. Yeah, other than the quantum riddlers, everything else is an uncommon or common as well in the sideboard. So you add 2 more rares. That means you have 8, 12. You have 14 rares in like cards, and then you have our lands over here. Yeah, in terms of arena economy, this is what you would consider a really cheap deck. So with that, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.